Next on the Delaware Way, good news for Delmarva customers. You got a rebate, your rates are coming down, and the Public Advocate says all utility rates may soon come down. Next on the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. If you are a Delmarva customer, you've seen a rebate, you've seen your rates go down, and there is more good news to come. To talk about that, Andrew Slater, who is the Delaware Public Advocate. Thank you so much for coming back. I remember when we had this conversation back in January, you were talking about the potential for this happening, the possibility for this happening. So tell me how we got here.
Yeah, so the Public Service Commission of Delaware had listened to our petition and had actually voted upon our petition and approved our petition that would lower everyone's rates, all public utility customer rates, as a result of the Federal Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which went from 35% to 21%. And so with Delmarva customers and Delmarva Power in for a rate case, an electric and gas rate case, which was more than $30 million, we could deal with that issue in the rate case, and we did. And so the Delmarva customers have seen, since October, the average usage has saved about $4 a month.
So just to talk about how really unprecedented this is, Delmarva came in and asked for substantially more money. You not only didn't give them more money, or the commission didn't give them more money, they were required to lower their rates and actually give some money back.
Yeah, that's right. So when they came in and asked for about $30 million, typically there's some negotiation and you're trying to find a reasonable rate. In this case, because of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, we had a significant overall rate reduction of almost $7 million on the electric side. The gas side is about $3.5 million reduction right now.
With the rate decrease on power, and then with other rate decreases that may come, average family saves how much a year? Yeah,
so the easiest one is to look at Delmarva, because that's already been done. And right now, Delmarva, there's two things on your bill, and they actually itemize it very well, which is a request that everyone had made. And there's a 5-year number and there's a 6-year number. And so for the next 5 to 6 years, you will have that reduction, which is the overcollection. And that's about $4 a month. Some of the other utilities, each utility is different for how much they had collected and how many customers they have. It's easier for Delmarva because it is the largest utility we have in the state. And so we're working on those numbers, and we have those for the commission should they decide to approve them. And it's really important to remember that the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, there were 2 petitions before the Public Service Commission, but there was significant legislative backing of our proposal. There were 38 legislators led by Representative Kowalko and Representative Kim Williams who supported our initiative.
Anytime there's extra money, it's really rare that goes back to the customer. It's very rare that goes back to the citizenry. Normally, the government sees extra money and they grab it.
Yeah, in this case, it was money that the customers had already paid. It was a regulated utility. That money obviously goes back to those customers. There's no ability to really grab it. It was, it was really just an overcollection of money, and so the easiest thing to do is just refund it back to the customer.
So give me an idea of this. So if you're in a meeting or there's the commission gets together, for lack of a better word, and Delmarva's there, or utilities there, and there's people from the government there, legislators, you're the person there that is representing us.
Yes, that's right. So I'm the representative for the residential and small commercial ratepayers primarily, but I am the
So everybody's fighting for money, right? Everybody's
Sure.
kind of fighting for money for their agencies, and your job is to try to fight to give it back to the consumer?
Yeah, our job is to make sure we have the lowest reasonable rates for those customers.
This is beyond that. This goes beyond that. There's a rebate involved in this.
Yeah,
so
there's a significant rebate, yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to get at. That's what seems to me to be unprecedented. Is there some precedent for this?
No, this really is kind of unprecedented. The last time that there was a reduction in the corporate rate was, I think, 1986. So this really is kind of unprecedented.
And did it happen then?
I know. I honestly don't remember.
Public Utility History 101.
Yeah, I'm sure that it did. But in this case, it really is unprecedented because you have utilities who, are you have Delmarva who asked for more money and actually got an overall rate reduction. You have the other utilities who, those customers will see a rate reduction. When somebody goes before the Public Service Commission, it's the utilities, the public advocate, the commission staff, and we all look at things to make sure that they're just and reasonable rates.
You can't be very popular at those meetings.
No, I'm okay. You know, there's some issues that it's very difficult, and so it's challenging. You know, there's times where you have disagreements with all different parties. It's the same thing. You know,
the other utilities, do you think they're just going to go along at this point? Does it seem like that's since Delmarva had to do it?
Yeah, this is it's interesting because with Delmarva, the issue was we had said we're going to deal with Delmarva in the rate case, and everybody else, we're just going to lower your rates. And so there was actually some pushback from folks that said we shouldn't treat Delmarva differently. And so I had to try and explain that we're not treating them any differently. It's just faster this way. And Delmarva agreed it's faster, and that's why customers have already seen the rate reduction that started in October.
Delmarva agreed it's this way. So how would you characterize their resistance to this? Were they reluctant, or did they really fight it?
No, Delmarva was actually great in this, and all the other utilities are now on board.
So they agree this is something they should do?
Yeah, and Exelon overall, I believe, said the exact same thing. You know, their parent company said that this should go back to the customers because it's an over-collection. It's not money that they anticipated. The federal law changed, and so that money should go back. So Delmarva has been very good in this. And the other utilities, I mean, at this point, it's a mathematical equation. The commission has already agreed with our petition that we need to lower rates to reflect the 21%. And so to that point, it's now a mathematical formula. And we're hoping that the commission may approve that in the coming weeks. And that way, all of the regulated utility customers will have a rebate sometime in the next year.
And when will we know?
So I'm hoping that we'll know by the end of the year. And then it'll be incumbent upon those utilities to then give that money back to the customers, and that should be sometime early next year.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations for doing your job. That's wonderful news for consumers in Delaware.
Yeah, we think so. Thank you.
Andrew Slater is the Delaware Public Advocate. When we come back, as you may have heard, the state has decided to send some of the inmates to Pennsylvania because it would cost less. We'll talk more about that when the Delaware Way continues.